again, friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Amy, and I'm glad you decided to join me for chapter 54, I believe. Yes, chapter 54 of the book that I wrote, Legends, Orbs of the Elements. If you are interested in picking up a copy for yourself so you can read along with me, or a friend, a colleague, or anything along those lines, I will be leaving all that information at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. I hope you are all having a wonderful Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. And without further ado, let's just jump right back into this adventure. Chapter 54. Leon was within inches of the orb. At that moment, a cloud plume emerged with a bang and sounded like that of a firecracker going off. The flyer called out, but in the confusion, his words were lost. It caused Leon to drop his weapon. The cloud plume both blinded him and clogged his throat, causing him to cough. Leon knelt on the ground and used his hands to find his sword. Just when his fingers lightly grazed the familiar steel, a boot stood on the hilt. Leon peered up. The cloud plume was gone. There was Nero, peering down at him with a disapproving expression on his face. Nero was wearing blue robes with silver stars shaped to form that of a raven on the shoulders. "Having trouble getting the orb, are we? Such a pity," Nero mocked, and moved his boot so Leon could retrieve his sword. Leon now stood and saw that Rifa was behind Nero. She remained silent but ready to strike if Nero gave the word. Little Boy sensed Leon's apprehension and snapped in Nero's direction. Excuse me. The flyer glared at both Nero and Rifa. "Leon, let's go," the more battle-experienced flyer said in a non-nonsense voice. Rifa moved gracefully over to him and gave him a curt smile. "What's your hurry, good-looking? We have a plan for you," she purred out, trying to lower the warrior's guard down. Before the flyer could make any type of reply, she touched him and, in doing so, turned him into a thick block of ice. Nero looked over at Rifa's work and nodded in satisfaction. He once again turned his attention back to Leon. "So, Hunter of the Orbs, your name is Leon. I've been keeping my eyes on you, and I must say I am impressed. I thought the legend would have left you long ago." Nero paused as if to see how Leon would react. Leon was aware that Nero was goading him. Leon made no reply. Rifa gave Leon a warm smile. A beautiful, deadly smile. He turned his gaze from her, and Nero came close to Leon. Nero put his hands behind his back in a relaxed, almost friendly gesture and spoke in a casual tone of voice. "Did you know that both the legend and your father lay dead?" Leon took a step back after hearing this statement from the prince. Castilia had taught him all she knew, and one of the things she pressed upon him was that the prince was an excellent manipulator and would prey upon any type of emotional weakness. Leon hardened his resolve and stared coldly into Nero's face. "You lie!" he barked out. Nero adjusted his sapphire ring lazily. "I may be lying, but don't you remember that the legend wanted to kill your father, and now she has?" Nero pointed out. Leon was mute. "That's because Castilia said you put a spell over him," Leon countered. The prince shook his head. "Yes, I did, but it wore off long before the legend, what was her name? Castilia, got to him." Leon stopped a few paces away from Nero. His mind raced with questions like, why would Nero lie to him? Leon shifted his weight from foot to foot. Leon thought quickly and looked up at Nero. I want to see my father. Nero gave a sideways glance to Rifa. I will take you to your father, Rifa replied in a businesslike tone of voice. Leon didn't like this. No, I want Nero to do it. Nero had to hand it to the hunter. He wasn't stupid, although this he would keep to himself. Nero waved a hand slightly. Very well, but there is something I want, but I will discuss that with you later. Nero again moved his hand in the air by Leon and around his head. Leon felt his whole body began to tingle and become transparent. Another instant later, he was in the arena where Castilia and his father had fought. As quickly as Leon saw his father, he rushed to his side and knelt. Nero stayed a few paces back. Father, father, Leon whispered to the old man on the floor. There was no reply. Leon felt hot tears running down the sides of his cheeks. Leon became angry, and hatred began building up inside of him. Suddenly, he lashed out at Nero. Murderer! She's a murderer! Nero knew his plan was working. He took one small step towards the hunter of the orbs. Yes, she did kill your father, and I hate to mention this, but she could have saved him by using one of her spare lives, but she didn't. Selfish, isn't it? Selfish, wasn't it? Leon failed to contain his anger and rage. He was very confused and clouded by grief and bitter disappointment. Nero placed his hands on the hunter's shoulders. I can revive your father in exchange for the orbs, Nero said in Leon's ear. Leon could feel something inside of him trying to come through that told him to resist what the prince was offering. Leon looked at his tubular carrying case for a moment. Without thinking, he began to reach for it when there was an ear-piercing shriek from a woman and heavy footsteps could be heard pounding on the stone floor. This distracted Leon, and he realized he was slowly being taken by a spell, for his hands were about to open the carrying case which contained the orbs he had already collected. The flyer had somehow broken the ice prison Rifa had imprisoned him in. Nero left Leon and charged at the flyer. The two men engaged in hand-to-hand combat. Kicks and punches were exchanged in great intensity. Rubble from the battle spilled from the walls, and as the men violently attacked each other. Leon attempted to interfere, but was shoved aside. He stood up, brandishing his bow and arrow. Rifa blocked his path, and in her hands wielded weapons called sais. Each weapon was a blunted, pronged-shaped metal baton with two curved prongs projecting from the handle. Leon and Rifa began to fight. Rifa used different fighting tactics than her master. She preferred using actual weapons instead of magic. Leon silently thanked the elements for this because magic was more unpredictable than weapons. Leon fired his weapon instinctively at his enemy. Leon remembered the different ways Castilia had shown and taught him how to not only block attacks, but how to use his hunting skills to his advantage in a fight. The techniques and teachings were never so important to use than it was now. May the elements bless Castilia for showing him and helping him to hone in on these combat skills. Rifa spun her weapons in and cut the arrow mid-air like a pair of scissors. The arrow fell harmlessly to the floor. Rifa took a leap and swung her sai at Leon. He dodged out of the way. However, he did not come away unscathed. Leon gazed down and beheld a small cut on his forearm. Rifa laughed. She strode over him fearlessly. She used a fighting technique called a front kick. Her right knee and leg shot up and connected hard with stomach. Leon's instincts took over, and he took advantage of this and used her momentum against her and gave her a sideways kick with his leg, which sent her sprawling. "How dare you strike a woman? You'll pay for that, Hunter," she growled out and stood up. She made her weapons disappear, did a somersault, and brutally struck Leon in the ribs using magic. Leon flew through them and hit the ceiling with a thunderous crack. Leon then came hurling back to the ground with the same violent speed. Thud! Leon could instantly tell, not only by the position in which he fell, but by the pain level. He had cracked ribs, among other non-life-threatening injuries. Leon gritted his teeth and notched an arrow in his bow and shot. Rifa blocked this arrow away, but this time she summoned her magic and turned Leon's arrow into a flower. But she didn't expect rapid succession of the arrows from Leon, which in turn caused her to get sloppy and wasn't quite fast enough to block all of them, and one buried itself into her shoulder. Leon had a bleak sense of satisfaction on this. Nero was very skilled and used not only physical weapons, but by using his hands to conjure magic. The prince would throw a volley of lightning bolts at this enemy. The flyer would react by doing a series of tumble passes to avoid being struck. The flyer chose not to shapeshift, which would use a lot of his energy. Nero sidestepped the flyer. The prince instinctively plunged his weapon brutally into the flyer, who collapsed on the floor in a bloody heap. Leon was on his back when he saw his comrade fall. This caused Leon to focus on and use his legs and kicked at Rifa, who wasn't expecting this. The blow sent her to the ground. Leon now jogged to where his companion lay. Nero was breathing in ragged breaths. "He put up a valiant fight there, boy, but he was no match for me." Nero spied Leon's carrying case, which had fallen off during the scuffle with Rifa, and grabbed it. Leon was torn. He wanted to aid his friend, but Nero was more of a threat. Leon scrambled up and headed straight for the prince. Nero was slightly unaware of Leon and turned too late, where he was sucker punched squarely in the face. With the impact from Leon's fist, he knew that he had a bloody knuckles and wouldn't kill the prince. But boy, oh boy, did it feel good to do that. Prince Nero used his left hand to touch his face. No one in all his years had ever dared to punch him. Oh, there were plenty of people who wanted to try, but none dared to follow their threats. Besides, even if they did try, the prince would dispose of them with magic and make them an example. His fingers touched red wetness. He silently admired the red liquid on his hand. "Nicely done, Hunter. Now, if you excuse me, I must be going. Rifa, come with me," he said, as if he had just finished an important meeting and not just killed a seasoned warrior. Leon's body throbbed everywhere from exertion and the cut and wound he had received. Nero smiled as Rifa stood next to the prince. "Till we meet again, Hunter." With the snap of his fingers, both he and Rifa disappeared like smoke upon the wind. So that is all the chapter for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this book and want to continue on with it, my book can be found on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Apple iBooks, and lots of places online books are sold. I also have a Facebook page dedicated to all things Legends Orbs of the Elements. There I write an article Monday through Friday about different aspects of my book, whether it's more deep dive into characters, plot line, the writing process. So if you are interested in finding out more about my characters, please go check that out. I try to excuse me, I'm so sorry. I try to keep the articles as spoiler free as possible, so if you are enjoying this book and do want to continue on but don't want to be spoiled by what the articles are about, there is no need to fret about it. I am also currently editing the sequel to this book that I wrote, and it will be called Legends 2 Rise of the Soul Collectors. I am so excited about this, and I will also be working on getting my book made into a book trailer so more people can learn about my book and read it for themselves. I so appreciate all my subscribers out there. I am currently trying to get my 200 subscribers so that way I can do a awesome giveaway. I am currently at 176 subscribers, and I am so thankful for each and every one of you. If you like this video, please give it a big like, subscribe, share with friends and family. If you are interested in also other videos that I make, I do Disney videos, and I do book related videos, and I do videos about my life and how I do everyday tasks with just the use of one hand. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please go check out those other fun videos. And as they say in my book, may the elements protect you, and I will see you tomorrow for another reading. Bye-bye for now, everybody.